Hi you guys, it's Karen with Love Your Land, and this is going to be a real quick video, I hope. Famous last words, right? But the last couple of videos that I've done have prompted a lot of you to ask me what my potting mix is, or my planting medium. So I thought I'd just do a quick video and just tell you. I've answered some of you on Facebook and YouTube, but people keep asking me, so I'm just going to show you what I do. So my planting medium is no more than 1 part sterile soil and 1 part coir. My sterile soil does have perlite in it. That's just what my garden center puts in it. But I'm going to explain both of these here. The reason I use sterile soil is because, first of all, little bugs and things like that I don't want in my house have been baked out of it, gone. So that's the number one simple answer. The other reason is seeds don't need fertilizer to germinate. Somebody coming in? No. The seed actually contains all the nutrients that seed needs to germinate and grow for a while. So little seedlings don't need fertilizer or food until they have 2 or 3 sets of true leaves. So if you're more comfortable with starting your seeds in a potting mix that has stuff already added in it, go for it. But you asked me what I did, so I'm telling you what I do. So it's more money, for one thing, to buy a potting mix, let's say, with added fertilizers and stuff in it. Plus, I don't really know what it is, what's in there. So since I don't need it, I just skip it and save money. So I use sterile soil. The other thing like I said, is that I add is coir. Coir, you may have heard it be called cocoa peat, coconut peat. What are some of the others? Oh, my instructors and professors at CSU call it coir. So maybe that's the right way to say it, actually. I've just never heard it called that until I started taking this class. But all it is ground up coconut husk, and it's compressed into these bricks. This is a bale, but they also sell them in brick size, which I've shown you. You can also buy it loose, but I think it looks like it's less, so I just get either the bricks or the whole big bales. Also, these bales this was about just a little bit under $12, and a brick is $8 where I shop. So yeah. So the reason to use coir, the reason why I use coir is because soil by itself compacts. And when soil compacts, the number of pores reduces over and over and over every time you water. That's why if you have a pot with just soil in it, sometimes you go to water and it just sits up there and it has a hard time. It's not well draining soil, so it has a hard time getting through the whole pot of soil. When you add coir to it, coir is just filled with pores, and pores, by the way, are where water and air go. So you can imagine if you don't have room for water and air, probably going to be making your plant sad. And the other thing is roots. They need to. If you think about you've seen like a cross-section diagram or a illustration of a root system, and they're all like this, they're all happy, and they go down and they spread out and they're happy. Well, if you have compacted soil, like my native soil here is clay, roots are kind of lazy. So it doesn't take a lot of resistance for them to, if they're trying to go down to get water or grow or get nutrients or whatever, it doesn't take much resistance for them to sort of just give up. And so they just kind of circle around and around and around, and then you have a big tangled root ball. So if you can amend your soil, at least in your house, with something like coir, your plants are going to benefit from it. So I'm going to show you. The other thing is I want to explain to you what happens when you rehydrate coir, because I know I'm going to have to ask my sister if this is okay to say this after I've already filmed it. But I'm pretty sure the first time she used it, she got one of these big bales and she started adding water to it, and she had to take the whole thing out and put it in a wheelbarrow because this will expand so much. I don't remember, 3 cubic feet or something. And so, in fact, that's why I only chopped off a small piece. This is probably half the size of a brick that you would buy. But I want to show you how much it expands, and so if I'm going to do that here in this little bowl, it has to be a small amount. So I'm going to go ahead and heat up my water, because you have to use hot water to rehydrate it, and then I'm going to add the water, and I'm going to bring this over to you and show you what it turns into and how big it gets and all that. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, I've heated up my water twice. For those of you paying attention, this is not the same brick I was showing you before, but I messed up that video, or that piece of it. So I had to go out and chop off some more, which, by the way, this is not easy to chop off. So you need like a chisel and a hammer, and I mean, it comes off. But this didn't come off in one little hunk like that. It came off in some littler pieces, but it does not matter. I just wanted to separate it out so you could see how much I was putting in. I think I have roughly the same amount. So there's like one big chunk, then there were those smaller ones and a few more smaller ones. Okay, so whatever, you can see for yourself here, it's like a hunk, a couple hunks. So I'm gonna go ahead and get hot water to put on here. If you try to just take this outside and maybe you wanted that much, and you try to just run the hose on it with cold water, it'll eventually rehydrate, but it takes a lot longer. So that's why I'm using hot water. This is a 4-cup measuring cup, and I have like 3 1/4. I'm going to be using all of this and more than likely. So I'm going to start pouring this in, and then I'm going to bring it over there so you can see what's happening right off the bat. Okay, so it's just crumbling. Instead of being a brick that I have to use a pickaxe with, now it's becoming light and fluffy, okay? Okay, so now that you guys have gotten the gist of what happens, I'm not going to keep bringing this over there, but I am going to show you as I go. So it like I said, it still needs more water. It soaks up a lot of water. It really does. So what I'm doing here is I'm sort of pushing off the hydrated parts of the coir as it hydrates. Underneath, there's going to be some, like I can feel it's dry in there. That's okay. You just keep going. Just keep working with it, flinging it all over the place. And then the other thing I do is because I'm adding water, the bottom part of this bowl, this coir is very saturated. So what I do is I take like the bottom stuff and put it up on top, because the dry pieces will wick the moisture out of, the excess moisture out of those sections of coir. I can't say pieces anymore because it's a bowl of fluff. So I have some pretty big hunks still left, so I'm going to get some more hot water. That may be enough. We'll find out. And I just pour it everywhere because, again, I take the saturated parts and smush it in with the dry parts, and it all seems to work out. And just keep going through and kind of breaking apart the pieces with your hands, and then making sure they're in contact with saturated coir. And eventually, here in a second, actually, it'll all be hydrated and ready to add to your soil. That's pretty good. So that little, whatever that was, probably, it was all sitting in there weird, but probably about 3 cups of coir, if we're going to measure it that way, because it was in a measuring cup, turned into this whole bowl. So that's pretty cool. It's not quite the whole bowl, it's 3/4 of it, but it expands a lot. So that's why I wanted to show you how much it expands. And if you don't spill it all over your counter, you get a lot more out of the deal. So anyway, that's it. I'm going to rinse my hands off now in this bowl, and that's it. If you have any questions left, post a comment or go over to Facebook and ask me there. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.